Happy fall, guys! Fall is officially in full swing, and I am super excited about today's video because I have been doing a lot of fun fall things all over the map, ranging from having a date with Dan where we got to hang by the lake, go out to eat. I've cooked a few extra delicious foods lately. I got to go to a fall festival with my family that was so much fun, do some really fun outdoor activities. How many times can I say fun? Involved in a local clothing sale. Yeah, it's just been an eventful start to fall. Give this video a thumbs up if you like seeing vlogs, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment down below letting me know what you think and or what videos you'd like to see next. So with all that being said, let's hop right in. So we are currently on a walk, and we love taking walks all year round, but we've actually been walking in a different neighborhood lately because now that the days are getting shorter, the sun is in my eyes. Now that the days are getting shorter, our neighborhood has like too many trees, and so the sun hides behind the trees, and by the time we go out for a walk it's like just a little bit too dark. And so we've been coming to this neighborhood where the trees are a little bit less developed and we get more sunshine, and it's also a cul-de-sac, so we can just bike at the end in circles with no worries. Hi, little girl. Hi, little girl. He's biking on the curb. There's also like a ton of road work happening on our street, so that's been kind of wild. But yeah, the weather has been absolutely perfect for the last like day and a half, and we're supposed to have like perfect weather for the next like week or so. So even though my favorite season of the year, especially in North Idaho, is gone, it's donezo. Yeah, are you chiming in? I am remembering how much I love fall. All of the trees are changing, the leaves are falling, and you know, it's not freezing yet, so that's great. Chewbacca's got some things to say. She's also holding both beverages. Oh, now you don't? No more? No more stuff to say? No more? It's truly so stunning here, and the weather is so perfect. So I'm soaking in every beautiful weather, every day of beautiful weather while we have it. He's looking at the don't know what that means, but sure. All right, let's keep walking. You ready to keep walking, little girl? Yeah. It's time for mommy to go home and do her workout. I gotta go do my physical therapy. Okay, I had to show you this because we had the northern lights go over our house, and that felt very fall, very cold weather vibes. Thought I'd share. Also, because we had a warmer start this season to fall, my family has been playing ping pong outside on Sundays for our family meal days. And we just kind of pull it out in front of the garage and play for a couple hours. It was an absolute blast on this day. And then, guys, it was time again for the Just Between Friends sale. Now, this was kind of crazy because this is actually my 7th time going to this sale. Actually, since I moved here, the last sale in April was the first sale that I missed, and that's because I was so pregnant with Lizzie. I was actually at my due date. I didn't want to risk getting sick in a large crowd of people because I had already been super sick leading up to that point. And so this time we decided to actually sell some things at the sale. Really, in my opinion, that's the only way that it's worth going to the JBF sale, is if you can get in early with like the seller's pass. So each seller gets a +1, and in all my previous sales I have gone as my friend Maria's +1. By the way, Maria is my first interview coming up soon for my new podcast, Keep Your Eyes Peeled. We had a really interesting conversation about her life as the oldest of 11 children, and after we did our interview that day, we made our way to the sale, and she was not selling this time because she is actually very pregnant now. So I was selling. On that note, I will sell again, but I will only sell a couple pieces in the future because we sold way too much and it was way too much work. We actually, the best part about it was just that we laughed till we cried, Dan and I did, because my fingers were like bleeding and sore from pinning tags to the outfits. So we'll be back, but we'll be selling much less in the future, just enough to get in get our early entrance tag, contribute to the sale. And then, yeah, I told you that the weather has been beautiful. By the way, that was Dan showing me something kind of gross on Instagram. That was why I made that face. So we had some beautiful bike rides. We've had some beautiful park days. Lizzie actually recently went on a swing at the park for her very first time. The weather was perfect. And so it was so fun just hanging out with her on the swing. Dan was hanging with Logie. They were actually playing this like tag game that another kid, their grandparent or their grandma at the park made up, called Monster. Details you don't need, but it was really cute. And then we've been making our way down to see the donkeys. You guys know that is like a treasured part of living in our neighborhood for us, just getting out and seeing all of the animals that surround our house. So on this day, Dan and I actually got to have a date night out. This was exciting. My parents volunteered to watch the kids, and it was so beautiful that we made our way down to the beach. Just reclining on our recliners. We are in fact staring right at the sun. Good thing I brought my sunglasses. It's so beautiful out. I mean, I think I've mentioned this to you guys. I love the seasons. It's a big part of what I like about living out of California is experiencing the seasons. But I do feel that kind of impending feeling of like, okay, winter's coming. So days like this are such a treat. In October, it's warm, it's beautiful. And I'm excited to be out with you, Dan. I've already planned my meal for the night. Like, I was looking at the menu in the car, weighing out the options, the things that I'm gonna add. This bee needs to go away. My parents are with the kids. It's beautiful. For real, I love the fact that I experience seasons up here, but knowing that winter is coming really makes you soak in days like this and enjoy them to their fullest. And just getting to have this quiet and uninterrupted hangout time with Dan was just so lovely. And the water and the weather and the animals and the boats, it was just beautiful. Fall vibes, all the leaves are coming down. So cute. So I've mentioned this before, but Nadine's is, as of right now, my favorite restaurant in North Idaho, like Kootenai County, Coeur d'Alene-ish area, although it's technically in Rathdrum. It is so good. And it's not just good like for North Idaho. It's just really good in general. Like if we had this back in LA, I would still love this spot. I'm a little spoiled to LA's food still in my heart. So finding places that really resonate with me has just been harder, but I love Nadine's. Check it out. Logan would be losing it right now because a train! Oh my gosh, you can't see it. Kind of see it in the shadowy distance. Very, very excited. All right, so this is random, but this has proven to be our favorite fall festival up here. It's at a local nursery called New Leaf Nursery, and it's just such a lovely fall festival. So many fun, free things that you can do with the kids. You don't have to spend money, but there's little activities that, you could still do. You don't spend an arm and a leg. And because it's a nursery, there's just beautiful plants all over. So that's a big part of what makes it lovely, is it's not just, like Halloween stuff. It's actually like beautiful plants and pumpkins and all of that all over. And it's local here in town. And we just had a really great time going with my parents and walking around. The weather was literally perfect. In the past, it's actually almost been a little too warm. Not that that's a bad thing, right? Going into winter, but it couldn't have been more beautiful on this day. I think it was literally like 72 degrees or something crazy perfect like that. I made my family dance around for these shots. And it was also super cool because Logan got to ride a horse. And I'm pretty sure this was Logan's first time riding a horse. And he was just giddy with excitement. And he looked so cute, like such a little natural, sitting up there on his horse. It's just still so surreal to me that my baby is old enough to ride a horse. Like, what? Time really does fly when you have kids. Having kids really makes you aware of how fast time goes by. So do the seasons, honestly, but kids especially. So they had this little petting zoo, which was also free. And Logan, was all about this, running from animal to animal, just looking and petting. And it was just really cute. So pretty much every day that we can take a bike ride, we do take a bike ride, because once we hit winter, dude, how crazy are these trees? These are my favorite trees every year, on a side note, to watch them change. But once we hit winter and we cannot go biking, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, see you in 6 months. Like, we are gone from this insanely fun, like our favorite hobby, for a while. So much so you almost forget what it's like to do it. So every day that we have that is warm enough, even if we have to bundle up, we are out there biking. And our neighborhood is really cool because we're tucked up to a mountain. So even though we're in like a suburb, we are like such a short distance away from biking, like as you can see, into the mountains, and feeling like we essentially live in a rural area. It's such a cool little enclave in the city, because even though for us, like being, from Los Angeles, we are in a small town now, technically for the area, we live in like the big city up here. Not the big city. The big city would be like Spokane, but for North Idaho, we are in the big city. And it's just lovely, the area where we live. And also all of the leaves falling, it's so short-lived that we get all these bursts of colors. Although I feel like we've had them for like a month, and it's been really nice getting to soak in all of the bright colors. But we do just that, soak in every day that we get with all of these bright colors. So because of the cold weather, we had a lot of green tomatoes from my mom's garden to pull in. And so she pulled in a bunch. And on this day, we decided to make fried green tomatoes. So I started off by making breadcrumbs, and I just took a couple pieces of my homemade sourdough toast, blended them up in the blender, threw the crumbs in the oven. I want to say at like 250 or 300 degrees for like 5 to 10 minutes. Then you toss them, and then you do it again for 5 to 10 minutes. You toss them, and then you do it again for 5 to 10 minutes. Just Google this. Crazy easy. And then we cut our green tomatoes, Dan did, because he's more the detail guy over here, into like 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch pieces. I think they're like actually 1/4 inch, and laid them out on a paper towel, sprinkled them with salt so we could draw all of the excess moisture out. And then while the tomatoes were sitting, like with all of the moisture being pulled out, I made my 3 bowls of stuff that I needed to dip the tomatoes. So it was a flour and spice blend, an egg and milk blend, and my breadcrumbs. And so, the tomatoes just sat there weeping. And then I started to preheat the oil on the pan. Then I took a paper towel, dabbed off all of the moisture from my green tomatoes. Oh my gosh, guys, I can't even tell you how good, spoiler alert, these turned out to be. And Dan and I, just as fast as we could, because it actually was family dinner on this night, and so we were hustling to try to get these done before my mom showed up with all the chicken wings. And we just went down the little assembly line and made our green tomatoes. And we lined them up on our rack while we were dunking all of the tomatoes. And then we stuck a bunch in a pan. Now you want to still give them a little bit of space. So I think we did like 5 to 7 at a time, depending on the size, because you don't want them too crowded so that they can, breathe isn't the right word because they're being fried, but kind of, they just need a little space to get fried. And it took about, I'd say like 3 to 5 minutes per side, maybe I'm overshooting here, but really just till they went golden brown. And we just did a shallow base of avocado oil, so not too much, but just enough to kind of fry them. And we ended up making, by the way, on the side, a chipotle aioli from like a random recipe I found. And I did not get a shot of me trying these tomatoes. I'm sorry, just take my word for it. They were delicious. Okay, so another random fall activity. I had to show you this dress. It's very fall. I'm standing on my fall street. And on this day, I was going to a friend's baby shower. And literally, as I was about to pull out, I was like, wait, I have to show them my dress on my street with all the fall colors. And the baby shower was absolutely beautiful. It's a friend who ironically is like my 4th friend to have a little boy first and a girl second, like within our friend group. So that was pretty sweet and exciting. and I just had to show you how lovely everything was. My friend Maria, who's getting her second shout out in this video, actually gave a little speech at the baby shower, and it was absolutely lovely. Okay, another fun fall activity. We went on a hike. It was so beautiful on this day. I feel like that's the theme of this whole video, just talking about how beautiful everything is. But this is a place called Tubbs Hill that goes around Coeur d'Alene Lake, and me and my parents and Logie all went on a walk this day. Dan stayed behind with Lizzie. That's fine. He was actually in the process of butchering an elk that he caught recently, so go Dan. And okay, another fall activity. We made these fall leaf crowns. How cute is that? So I haven't made artichokes in a hot minute, and I love artichokes, especially with a garlic aioli. So I started off by filling my pot with a little bit of water. It's like a special steaming pot. And then I cut open my artichokes. I cut the top off, the bottom of the stem, and the artichokes in half. If you've been scared of trying artichokes, just please dive in and try them, especially when you make the right dipping sauce. They're incredible. So I put them in my pot to steam with my lid on top, and then I had been craving cinnamon rolls. There truly is something about fall where I start craving like pecan pie, cinnamon rolls. And this recipe is a recipe I got from my friend Christy, who ironically is another person I'm going to be interviewing in an upcoming podcast. I've mentioned her a couple of times before. She's worked in the medical system for like 17 years, but she's very, very crunchy, and I just think she's going to be a very fascinating conversation. So she has this incredible sourdough cinnamon roll recipe, and I had tried it actually because at my postpartum group at my midwife's office, she was serving these cinnamon rolls, and I said, oh my gosh, Rebecca, these are the best cinnamon rolls I've ever had. And she said, they're Christy's recipe. So I had to make them. Once again, spoiler alert, they turned out incredible. So on this day, I was mixing the dough because with sourdough, you have to let it sit if you want to properly ferment it for like 12 plus hours. So this was just the initial mixing of the dough. I will leave Christy's recipe down below in the info box, by the way, if you want to try it out yourself. It was very good. And so yeah, I mixed up all of the dough like so. Look at me rhyming. I'm a poet and I know it. So this is actually the next day, and after they had sat and risen, about doubled in size, it was time to make the brown sugar cinnamon filling for the cinnamon rolls. So as you can see, it's brown sugar, butter, cinnamon, and that might be it actually. Like I said, the recipe will be down below. So you mix everything up together really well. And then I rolled out my dough. Now, this part is a little scary because it kind of wants to stick to the counter. It wants to stick to the rolling pin, and you want to just spread it out into a good sized rectangle. I don't know the exact size. Sorry, I'm not that measured, but a good size rectangle. And once you get it spread out in a way where you feel like you're going to be able to cut up 12 cinnamon rolls about 1/2 inch in size, then you're good to go. So you get it into your rectangle, and then you spread out all of your cinnamon brown sugar filling across the dough. Then you very carefully roll your cinnamon dough up like so. As you can see, it's a little scary. It wants to stick, but it didn't. Then I greased up my pan that I was going to be baking my cinnamon rolls in. I just put butter on a paper towel. Is that janky? I feel like that's a little janky. Let me know how you grease a pan, by the way. Then I took dental floss because I truly have found that to be the best way to cut cinnamon rolls. With a knife, you kind of like mess up the dough. It's not as clean of a cut, but with dental floss, you just get a clean cut. You don't ruin the dough. There you go. I laid them out in the pan and then realized that that was not the correct amount to lay across the whole pan. I had to kind of reconfigure it. Then I let the dough sit and rise a little bit more for about an hour. By the way, I forgot to mention that the next day after the dough had sat, I added in there baking soda and baking powder. So at this point, while the dough was rising, I mixed my frosting, and this was a cream cheese buttercream frosting. I have now done 2 different kinds of frosting. Well, they're both cream cheese buttercream, but one where I added milk, which made it more like an icing, and one like this, where it's more like a thick frosting. And I will tell you, this is the way that both Dan and I preferred it, being nice and thick and piled up, especially for storing the cinnamon rolls in the freezer, which we ended up doing. That is the icing you want to make. So once the rolls came out of the oven, we let them cool for a while. And so while they were cooling, we decided to make another leaf crown, because that first one, while it was super cute, it wasn't very sturdy. And I just felt like practicing my leaf crown making abilities, okay? So Logan sat there and very patiently watched me and cheered me on while I tried my hand again at leaf crown making. And let me tell you, trying a second time, there definitely were little hacks that I learned the first time. And now if I were going to do it again, which I don't think I am, because I feel like this is getting out of hand, I don't need to keep making leaf crowns. I've learned even more. Now, I will say what was really cool about this was I ended up using this leaf crown to be a decorative base for a candle holder that I have. And so it's kind of given it a second life beyond just, fun playing with it as a leaf crown. So that's really cute. So then I put some cinnamon rolls out for us to eat, and then I put some on this tin foil pan thingy and frosted them up to throw them in the freezer. You can just put them in the freezer like this. They thaw beautifully. They're even good frozen, but yeah, so good. Once again, did not get an eating shot. I'm sorry. I'm being a bad vlogger. I'm not getting those satisfying final food shots. So, all right. Then I decided I wanted to make some white chicken chili. So I threw some chicken in the oven to bake. And while it was baking, this white chicken chili recipe is probably the easiest white chicken chili recipe I've ever made. And this one is specifically from Rebecca Merkel's Soup Night Slapdashery cookbook. It's just so basic, so easy, but very good. So the reason that it's so easy, by the way, is because she typically makes those soups for large groups of people. So you keep it simple. So I pulled all my spices together. I cut my onion up into pieces, which, by the way, I really want to get one of those veggie chopper things. Now that I've seen people all over using them, I'm like so over chopping veggies. I feel like I'm living in the past and this needs to change. So once I cooked my chicken, I pulled it out, let it cool for a bit, and I threw my onions in some butter and olive oil in my pot that I was going to be cooking my chili in. Then I threw in 2 cans of green chilies, as well as all of my drained can of beans, mixed that all up like so. Then I dumped in 2 cartons of chicken bone broth from Costco, mixed that up like so, and then I sliced up all of my chicken to throw into the white chicken chili. By the way, I don't think she called for that much broth, but I tend to like my chili on the soupier side of life, like less on the chili side of life, if that makes sense. Then at the very end, I threw in my sour cream and my heavy whipping cream, and it was really good. So yeah, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and happy fall to all of y'all. Thanksgiving is coming, Christmas is coming, then my son's birthday is coming. Time is flying, guys, but I hope that you are soaking in every moment with your family and your loved ones. And if you're having a hard time, keep swimming, cast your cares upon the Lord, and I will, God willing, see you back here soon with another new video. Bye, guys.